Pythagoras a trig. We went for Pythagoras. And we did squares. That was the first day for 10 minutes, only 10 minutes. And they were starting to get the idea of square and then square root. I introduced that. And then I introduced, and this is the tricky thing, I introduced the concept of squaring and square rooting and the process between them. It's not a thing that's done. It's not like a thing that's written. It's a thing that's done in their heads. And this is important. Most teachers don't explain this, that the maths is done in their heads. And that's why it's quite a tricky subject, because it's an abstract thing that's done in their heads. And what we write down is just the effect of it, just some writing to represent what it is that we do in our heads. Mathematics is done in our heads. And this kind of, to persuade them that this is going on. And then, oh, and this is it. And then the next couple of days, and the next day I think I improvised and I said, well, there are 3 concepts that we have to know, okay, to be able to do Pythagoras. And I just drew 3 boxes. And I was like, I didn't know. But when I started writing, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Right, but I knew one of the square and square root. That was kind of one thing. And then I drew a triangle, because it's to do with Pythagoras. Triangles. And then I just went, right, okay, equal sign. Okay, it's to do with equations. Okay? And I make it up as I go along, which is kind of entertaining. And I think this is a fantastic way to teach Pythagoras, what can I say? And the idea is I was trying to tell them that it's not linear. It's not that you do this, you do this, you do this, oh, you've done it. It's not like that. It's more like you have to have these 3 simultaneous processings going on. It's like juggling. Once you have these 3 things going on, processing at the same time, you get Pythagoras. You can do it. And that's quite exciting. It's quite exciting. And also my speed. Throughout the next few days, I was saying, you know, most teachers go break it down small bits until it gets really boring. They're all aware of that because they're in 4th year and they're kind of very old bomb set, kind of close to bomb. Of course they're bored. So I'm sitting there speeding up, and I'm speaking this speed with them, conceptually, about maths. It's fantastic. So, at the end of it, what was the consequence? Oh, we've gone over 10 minutes. We've gone over 10 minutes. The consequence is that a lot of them seem to be quite happy. I think I lost 3. On the last day, didn't quite get the, but we did pretty well. There was a lot of them that were happy. Fraser was happy, Natalie was happy, Karen seemed happy, Layla did fantastically. She was really quiet, kind of shy girl at the back. She's fantastic. At the beginning she was right, but at the end of it she was right. I mean, it was perfect. I can't explain. I'll try. They get told to explain everything, write everything down. Why? They don't know. Somewhere in their maths education, learning, they don't know why they're writing this, and so they resent it. But the idea is that if you write it down, all little steps, when you look at it, your mind just goes, that's true. Like that. If you miss out steps, that's okay. Your mind could go, and it's also got those missing steps. But if it misses out certain steps, or if the writing's wrong, it's the x squared, and you have to get the right answer, but there's a bit messy bits in there, it means that the mind has to go, oh yeah, okay. Do you see? It has to go, oh yeah, and it has to correct something. The importance, therefore, is to write out the most essential elements, so that when you look at it, it's like that, it's like that, it's like that. And explaining that to a kid is just like enlightening. And then they're very happy to write it out. And then they want to write it out, so that they know when they look at it, and it does, they look at it and they go, yeah. And it's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. And I do this with kids. I mean, Fraser, I remember, he was doing something, and I was asking him a question, and he was thinking about it, and I was like, no, what's the answer? That was it. It was the revision right at the end, last day. We're doing kind of revision. We're doing the topic revision. And what they do is they do squares, and then they do square roots, and eventually you're doing like triangles and stuff. But of course they're not used to this. For some reason they've forgotten this, that in an exercise revision it starts off with these stuff. And so the point, you know, what's the square? It was a picture of a square. Okay, so you have like 3 squared. They'll say, oh, okay, 9. You can work that out. And then you had a square, and it has 17 on the side. I was like, what do I do? I was like, what do you think you do? What do you think you do? And he was like, okay, 17 times 4. And I was like, what? No, look at it, okay. If you, and then I had to explain this thing, that's 17 plus 17 plus 17, So what you do, and then he started thinking about it, because it wasn't 17 times 4, he just went, oh. And I was just like, what are you doing? You're thinking about something, it's not tricky, it's not difficult, you're taking too long. As soon as somebody starts going, you're just going, no, they've lost it, they're on the wrong track. Maths is easy. The trick is it's to look for the thing that's easy, the thing that's kind of like faster, the thing easy. And so he was like, and what adults will do, when I interrupt adults will, wait a minute, I'm thinking about something. Let me think about something. And then they go, and they think about whatever the fuck it is they're thinking about, and at the end of it they're confused, or they're silent, and no answer comes out. Whereas with the kid, I can actually just go, oh, no, okay, right, what's your answer? What's your, no, come on, think of something else. And you kind of press them. And you're trying to encourage them to press themselves, so that when their mind goes off, just come back, right, it's easy. And I kept saying, no, it's an easy answer, easy answer. And eventually got it. And he just went, oh yeah, like that. Oh yeah. And I don't tell them, okay, another part of what I do is you goes for all of it. I don't tell them what to do. Of course, sometimes I do, but that's a little bit. The more important bit is how they're doing it. Once they've been shown it, that's it. It's a matter of them just trusting themselves to do it themselves. Okay? And they're a bit nervous, some of them. Some of them don't have certain concepts. Some of them are insecure about certain processes, certain writing styles. Some of them can't actually write very well, and so on and so forth. And they've got all these different things going on inside themselves, which I cannot solve. All I can do is assist them, be sensitive to the individual, and assist them to solve it themselves. And that's how I do it. And we had great fun. It was fun. And that's the thing, I don't do an entertaining thing, and now the maths, it's like the maths is entertaining. The way I do maths is entertaining. The way I interact with people is kind of entertaining. But not like funny, it's not funny, but I don't know. But anyway, at the end of it, they did pretty well. Sana, she got it quite close from the beginning, she just worked hard. Rahman, although he was kind of a bit, he couldn't write that well and stuff, but he was okay. He was a bit reluctant about working, and the assistant with him did a bit too much with him, and a bit of victim mentality going on there, sad to say. But he was doing very well. We had a bit of laugh with him, and he was doing well, so I think he did well. There was only no, she did well. No, it was only one, and she'd come down from the earlier group. I kind of lost her, Dale, but she kind of knew it already. But she had an influence on the others, which was kind of good sometimes, and I kept on appealing to her on different days to try and get back on task, as it were, to lead the class and not to distract them. And Vicky, that was probably the biggest, I would say, disaster. She went ahead, she did very well, and so on and so forth, and then she took a bit too much. She went to a hard book, tried to do it, she couldn't do it, she got distracted by Gail, and she got a bit nervous about that, so she kind of avoided doing it. And that was the only one that I thought, she was so close to really feeling really confident about herself. She didn't quite, and it was because of the social dynamics. That's why I take so much care of social dynamics. 4 years.